In this video, Karen thinks I'm too young to have tattoos and demands I cover them in public. Racist Karen anti-masker pepper sprays cashier, gets arrested for assault. And it's basically my wedding. Karen thinks I'm too young to have tattoos and demands I cover them in public. I'm a 29-year-old, about to turn 30, disabled female, and I look a lot younger than I am. My personality is what you might call young, which might have something to do with me appearing younger to others. I suffered a spinal cord injury and brain injury when I was 17. My spinal cord injury is obvious, as I'm in a wheelchair. My brain injury, on the other hand, isn't quite as obvious. Most people can't tell that I'm brain damaged, as I talk and act relatively normally, but my personality is eccentric. I can act normal when I'm out shopping or going to doctor's appointments and things like that, but around friends or talking to strangers and meeting new people, I'm a bit of a goofball, which probably plays a part in me seeming younger than I am. But my physical features look much younger than I am also. Up until I was 28, I'd been mistaken for 18 to 19. This happened when I was 28. I have 8 tattoos, all of which have a meaning about my life. The lily on my chest is about the sister I had that died before I was born. The spider on my arm is about me overcoming my fear of spiders. My phoenix tattoo is about me going skydiving in 2016. I have a fairy on my shoulder, another flower on my chest, and a few other smaller tattoos on my arm. That's not to say that all tattoos should have a meaning, that's just me. When I'm wearing long sleeves and a high neck shirt, you can't see any of my tattoos. In summer, however, they're out for the world to see. None of them are offensive, in my opinion, and I often get compliments about them. And then I met Karen. It was a summer day, and I was downtown doing some shopping, wearing a 3/4 sleeve shirt with open shoulders, making all of my tattoos visible. It was hot as halls outside, so I just wanted to finish my shopping and get home to my air conditioner. And then it happened. I was in a grocery store grabbing a few things I needed when I got the feeling that I was being watched. I looked down the aisle and saw a middle-aged woman with what I now know to be a Karen outfit, staring at me with a face that would make Dolores Umbridge uncomfortable. I just smiled at her and went on with my shopping. Karen, you should really cover those. It's not appropriate to have them out like that. I started looking around on my body, not knowing what she was talking about. Did I have a wardrobe malfunction I was unaware of? Me. Huh? Excuse me? Karen, your tattoos. Don't you think you're setting a bad example? I mean, it's bad enough that you have that many tattoos at your age, but flaunting them like that? Show some respect. Me. What? My age? What are you on about, lady? Karen, you're too young to have that many tattoos. You should have them covered in public. Me. How old do you think I am? I'm 28, lady, and it's too flippin' hot to cover anything. Not that it's any of your business. The look of shock on her face grew even stronger as she heard me talking, which I guess made me seem even younger in her eyes. Karen, don't you lie to me, young lady. Show me some respect. Me, trying to avoid the confrontation. Whatever, lady. You have yourself a good day. Maybe pull that stick out of your clacka while you're at it. Bye. And I left the aisle, hoping that was the end of it. The lunatic trailed behind me for a few minutes after that, while giving me a death glare the whole time. But thankfully, she lost interest pretty quick and I lost sight of her. That was the weirdest interaction I've ever had with a Karen, or with anyone, for that matter. I don't know if I should take that as a compliment that I look younger than I am, or be insulted that I act like a kid. Either way, I like the way I am and wouldn't change it for anyone. Racist Karen anti-masker pepper sprays cashier, gets arrested for assault. I'm a small-town cop in Michigan who deals with many Karens on a monthly basis. I got an emergency call from a gas station on the edge of the city about a racist anti-masker refusing to leave the store and getting aggressive. When my partner and I arrived, the Karen was already screaming at the cashier. Karen, you stupid fucking nigger. As we opened the door, she pulled out the pepper spray and let loose on the cashier. I wish we had gotten there a bit sooner. I know how much pepper spray hurts. We grabbed the pepper spray out of her hand and my partner arrested her and read her rights. I went behind the counter to check on the cashier, who was on the floor sobbing. After washing his face with the hose outside and with milk, he was feeling well enough for me to bring him to the urgent care. He was fine after an hour or so, and Karen was charged with assault. The cashier apparently had told Karen he couldn't serve her without a mask due to store policy, and she wouldn't listen. He had told her if she refused to leave the store, he would call the police, and she started screaming at at him and calling him slurs. It only took us 7 minutes to get there, but was not fast enough to keep him from being pepper sprayed. It's basically my wedding. Cast for this will be myself, Alice, Sil, Helen, Alice's mother, or EM, Ron, Alice's husband, and my brother, Fred and George, two of my other brothers. To set the scene, the wedding was set to happen on a farm run by my Aunt Rose. This farm is set up to be photo ready for weddings and events that people wish to have there. It comes with a hefty price tag for a rental, and for her gift to Ron and Alice, Aunt Rose donated the venue and the on-site lodge for all the guests. Her children donated their time to clean and set the venue up. Her husband donated his cooking ability. Other family members provided the ingredients, and there wasn't a whole lot for the bride and groom to actually pay for. The wedding dress was made by Alice, her sister, and two of our cousins. The most expensive thing the pair purchased were the rings. Most people would be happy to spend so little for a wedding, but the mother of the bride was a problem from day one. She had to have her say in everything, just no one listened. It wasn't her day. It was Alice's day. She got progressively more angry as the family went with Alice's choices and not her ideas. Alice got to design everything, including the wedding cake. Due to her own allergies, she did not want any coconut on her cake. Pretty straightforward request, right? She had plans for a beautiful naked cake decorated with berries and a very nature-based look. The family adored Alice, but it was very clear that without needing to say anything, we all tuned out Helen and her terrible demands. Alice had ordered sunflowers and an array of orange and yellow roses and other flowers. They arrived before the rehearsal dinner and were put in the walk-in fridge to keep them looking good for the following day. Helen got very emotional when she saw the flowers that night. Fred said he had a bad feeling in his gut when Helen went off just before the rehearsal started. He didn't get to stop her or catch her, but she'd gone into the kitchen and snapped the heads off of the sunflowers. Helen didn't want sunflowers in her daughter's wedding photos. To not stress out the bride or groom, Fred put a text out to the family that had supplied the flowers. He explained that he'd left the rehearsal about 6 minutes after Helen had and found the sunflowers all beheaded. The family member agreed to replace all of them and come over extra early before the wedding with the needed flowers. She also requested that he save the sunflower heads and they could do something with the beheaded ones on the dining tables for the reception. Crisis 1 averted. However, while Fred was dealing with the sunflowers, I was dealing with another crisis altogether. Helen was standing off to the side of the event after finishing the meal. She was on the phone, and like my brother, I found a feeling of wrongness in my gut, so I wandered to listen in. She was talking to her husband, Alice's stepfather, on the phone. She was saying what a great surprise this would be for Alice and how excited Alice would be to see her stepfather. I stepped into Helen's space and told her point blank if that man showed up, he would be leaving with more holes than God intended. Helen scoffed off the threat until she saw the look in my eyes. She told her husband she would call him back before hanging up. She told me that she could invite her husband. After all, it was thanks to him Alice even met her future husband. She would be so thrilled to have him walk her down the aisle instead of Alice's own father. It was only right after all. Who wouldn't want someone who abused them so badly they ran away and got rescued by a stranger at their wedding? I looked over my shoulder and made eye contact with George. He sensed the brewing trouble and responded in a way that only George ever responds with. He brought her a fruity sweet drink and asked if there was a problem. She drank down the drink as she told him her woes of how I was so cruel to her. He patted her arm and took her off to the side where he proceeded to keep her glass very full. I went and warned my uncle to shut the gate prior to the wedding, and when he found out what was going on, he insisted he would keep one of his sons by the front gate just in case. The party was winding down as the bride and groom separated for the evening. George kept filling up the woman's glass, talking to her as if he was the most sympathetic person to her woes. The drunker Helen got, the more she spilled. She admitted about the sunflowers because they were such an ugly flower and her daughter didn't know better. However, around drink 4, she admitted that she'd fixed the stupid cake she'd seen in the fridge. George acted like he hated the cake as well to get out what he could from her as he found out this woman had wanted coconut cake, the thing her daughter was allergic to, badly allergic to. Turned out she had bought a few tubs of coconut frosting from the store and spread it over the base cake layer. It was around 3 a.m. when this revelation came out. George kept piling her with drinks as he led her towards the room she was staying in. He told the family via a text to check the cake immediately. Once he got her into bed with the plan to let her just sleep through the morning wedding, she blabbed about how bland the food had looked and she'd made it all better. Then she passed out without further explanation. All of the food was being inspected by the family as Aunt Rose, her husband, and kids set to work with the siblings to fix everything. The cake needed to be remade. The poorly spread coconut frosting had completely ruined the cake. Family members were woken up while the bride, groom, and wedding party were left alone to sleep. George said he would keep an eye on Helen and fix things with her husband. He was going to send the man somewhere completely different from the wedding venue. The family came together with 12 cars, leaving the ranch to go home for various replacements. There was a berry hunt at 4 in the morning, new fish, new bread being made, a new order of steaks being tenderized and marinated along with a dozen other things. One of my cousins was digging up new sweet potatoes while his wife and son gathered fresh eggs. Cars came and went all night. I told Alice her mother was sleeping off a hangover while she was getting dressed for the day, and she accepted it rather quickly. She had been told by some of her family that she had to invite her. As she tugged her stockings up, she told me she couldn't believe her wedding was here. She was getting to marry her Prince Charming in Ron, and she was trying not to cry before getting her makeup done. Helen missed the wedding despite her sister and her other daughter trying to wake her up for it. I'm glad to say Alice was in the dark about what happened on her wedding day until she came back from her honeymoon. Who told her what Helen had done? Why, Helen herself. Helen screamed at her daughter the first day they returned home from the honeymoon and told her how disappointed she was with the wedding she slept through. She wanted Alice to dress in her wedding dress and take photographs with her mother and her stepfather. Ron put a stop to that real fast. No way was her stepfather ever coming near her again. Helen was blocked and Alice tried to figure out what all happened at the event in those wee morning hours. We told her, with everyone coming forward with what they had done while the couple slept and rested for their wedding day. Alice thanked us all, and Ron told everyone at the next family get-together that she couldn't understand how we'd been so calm about it. Aunt Rose told her that in a crisis you can't lose focus. Make a plan, follow through, and things will work out all right. Alice took that advice to heart. She's a wedding planner now, and she's a stonewall for brides against their mothers or any influence besides the husband. It's their day, and that's it. Everyone else can shut up and listen to the bride and groom.